Alright, ladies and germs. There ain't no rest for the wicked. Money doesn't go on trees. Nature's Prophet makes trees, though. He's pretty good at that. compLexity versus the Dire. Fortunately, Navi Vega went a little bit late, so they started this game on us. We're going to have to hop into Dota TV for the cast. So we'll be a bit delayed here, but nonetheless, we'll make it just in time to see PPD face Swindle Melons. Obviously, the matchup everyone's been waiting for. And these two teams have squared off versus one another recently as well. So we'll see if compLexity can keep up their recent success with kind of what is their old squad here. Limp and Chessie rejoining them. MRP here, Franzi as well. I don't know if Franz is AFK or not, but I'm going to hop back into this one, and whenever he gets back, should be good to go. So, Prophet for Moo. Haven't seen all that much of the Moo Nature's Prophet in recent past. We'll see how he fares here up against the Necrophos. At least in the early levels, should be a Prophet favored matchup if it is that true 1v1. And it looks like for now, the Dire are opting to go aggro with the Pycat Weaver. Meanwhile, teeping in towards the... okay, towards his tower is Zai. And having to salve up. So as I mentioned early on, it's going to be rough going here. And Z-Freak actually going to try and find an opening here. He doesn't have an Infernal Blade or a Scorched Earth, so not much for him to do. Does have the boots, so can right-click into the Necrophos a bit. Meanwhile, though, I'm going to miss First Blood bottom lane as PPD, alongside Pycat and Misery, is able to draw it on Chessie. He guessed the wrong lane. Feels bad, man. Charge coming through, perhaps just unexpected in the moment from Chessie. Meanwhile, mid lane, Limp dueling up against CC and C, and doing pretty well on the Dragon Knight thus far. A little bit of damage reduction helping him out, 10-0 on the CS, 12-2 for CC and C. And certainly what is a favorable matchup.
Gold for me.
Alright, we'll have Franzi in 5 mins, boys. Already into the 6th game of the day we are on this Join Dota Blue channel. Meanwhile, Courier Snipe from PPD with the Arctic Burn and the ward down facilitating that. Man, it is so hard to not draw on the map when you're in Dota TV. Oh, there's the absolute crap out of me. Misery gonna find a kill on Limp, and the Dire off to the races here, both literally and figuratively, as he picks up a haste rune and makes his way down to the Radiant Bounty. Z-Freak in this top lane, really bodying Zai, kind of the only hero not doing well here for the Dire here early on. As the Infernal Blade is going to garner the attention of the Misery Spirit Breaker, who gets the bash and the charge. A couple more right clicks. He gets another bash for Misery, killing off the Doom. And now Moo in trouble as well. Has the TP out, gets charged up. Can go for the optimistic TP. He wants this Zai kill, though, and the Treants will do it for him. Z-Freak coming through, gets the net off, and no charge left for Misery. Back to base Moo will go. And some blows thrown back the way of the Dire from compLexity here.
Hello.
Hey, there he is.
So,
yeah, they started this one early on us, so we cannot draw on the floor, i.e. Dota TV cast.
It's okay, I only did that twice anyway, and it looks like Dire's slightly ahead at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly
a little
are.
over 1k net worth. One concern about their lineup is, after we watch bottom,
I hate this pattern.
Pycat going down. They did secure the first blood in this aggressive tri-lane. They even got a rotation over from PPD into the mid lane where he took the courier. But after 2 deaths like this, we may see it dissipate. Zai has been struggling top lane as well on the Necrophos. Just now that the Moo Prophet TP's in towards the bot lane, he gets a little bit of free space.
Z-Freak on mid on CCNC.
Charge coming through, but it's going to be a late one. Oh, nice dodge by CCNC on the War Stomp, of course. Not the quickest cast point. But PPD under the cover of Invis.
So one thing Dire have to be worried about if nothing happens here. One thing Dire have to be worried about is if compLexity decide to group up and push, because I feel like their lineup is not well equipped to deal with the Dragon Knight. You can kill all the other heroes. Doom's a little tough to kill, but Dragon Knight kind of poses sort of an issue for the Dire if he goes out of control, and it looks like he's second highest net worth with CCNC up ahead by 700 gold. But
yeah, he did
Weaver,
die once in the mid lane, but has done really well as far as CS goes.
Yeah, Weaver as a hero doesn't naturally deal with Dragon Knight, at least not until the later stages of the game, and he's not exactly highest net worth right now. So enough about the Dragon Knight. We'll talk about bot lane.
What do you feel about this Luna hero, Franz? I've seemed kind of weak to me in recent times.
So she's really squishy, right? But she's really good in team fights. She does a ton of damage, and she also farms incredibly quickly. So if you get her off to a good start, she can do a lot in the game. However, she is one of the more vulnerable carries in the game. She doesn't have an escape mechanism, so the enemy team can punish it quite easily. And so I actually take quite a bit of damage up top here.
Beautiful body blocks coming out from Moo with the Treant. Scorched Earth is there as well. Moo may just die to this Death Pulse. He's trying to get him back and away, and he will survive. The Necrophos is going to be dropped to Z-Freak. And the Dire kind of stubbornly keep returning to this bottom lane and leaving Zai, out by his lonesome. So Pycat suffered a little bit in the way of levels. This Weaver sitting on level 4, but Chessie, he's about, at equilibrium right now with the Weaver having been forced out of lane and unable to pull jungle. Still, though, it does seem that Zai has suffered rather considerably in this early game. He's sitting pretty far down, 7th overall net worth at this point.
Yeah, so there's going to be a trade that Dire after we watch Moo.
Route, TP out. Do they have the vision? They
Bash?
do barely get in there.
2 bashes, hello? 17%?
Misery. He's been getting them this game. He got an earlier kill on Z-Freak as well with the bash. Needs one here. And yeah, Doom missing a lot of HP will end up dropping. But the Melon's going to rotate through. Charge available in 2. And it looks like Misery will be just... Well! I guess I spoke too soon. Level 2 Shadow Wave with the Treant. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Chessie drops to the combination of Pycat and PPD. And this feels like some NA Dota as bodies and blood spilling across the map. Limp, the only one just kind of chilling, as Dragon Knights tend to do.
So before all of that was going to start, I was going to say you got to look out for the timing where Dire are going to try to jump this Luna, because she is quite vulnerable for kills. And in the mid lane, charge coming out. Nothing will happen, however. So CCNC, like Puck has to be, or Puck is like one of the best heroes that Dire can use to make a move. The problem is that if Puck moves and Dragon Knight stays in the lane, Puck's tower is almost certainly dead to the Dragon form. So Dire, they have to be careful of what kind of exchange they make. In fact, it looks like they might actually go for a gank on this Dragon Knight instead. We have 2 heroes smoked up here.
Limp with, I think, what was a misskill. He was holding 2 points. He had 302, and when he hit that puck, he went for 2 points in the Dragon Tail and then got charged up by Misery and didn't end up being able to use it. He will now turn and use it, gets into the Dragon form, gets a little bit of that damage reduction off, but still, they're able to kill him with the magic damage, and that is effectively a wasted Dragon form. In the meantime, bottom lane, they do end up getting the Pycat Weaver, which is a big kill for them, but the Dragon Knight arguably more valuable, and they will get some damage done to this tier 1 mid lane. So I feel like you probably have the level 4 Breathe Fire like 4-1-2-1 on the DK, but he might have just double skilled Dragon Knight tail by accident.
Me, not Dragon Knight expert, but that seems correct. Dragon Knight builds are... They're a little strange. I think you don't have to max the Breathe Fire just because the other 2 skills scale so well, and up top, Chessie's being charged up, Pycat's on top of him already.
Chessie in trouble, and he's going to get charged up. Mango maybe to think about, just a Lucent Beam trying to help back, but ends up falling.
And that makes Weaver Weaver and Spirit Breaker are so effective at killing heroes because they have high movement speed, you have the armor reduction from the Weaver, and as a result, they get the Luna, and they net about 500 damage to this top tier 1. And Necrophos doing Necrophos things in the bottom lane.
Limp. Aggressed on, but probably should survive just fine here mid lane. CCNC does have the coil. They're bringing Misery in. Not sure if he was briefly scouted or not by Moo there, but Limp has postured rather defensively because of it. And Ramon's going to rotate in as well. Z-Freak does not have the Doom available, but he does have an Infernal Blade and will catch that with the Breathe Fire. They combo it up. Misery, 1 second until charge. He'll stick up and try to make it away. Scorched Earth will finish him off.
Mid tower, 1 hit, 2 hits. Gets denied, but that opens up a lot of the map for the Dire. Who
Literally.
are on the Dire. Thank God they're on the Dire. I actually did. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize. What if they were on Radiant?
Yeah.
What would we?
The Radiant team called the Dire.
I'll just call them Team CCNC.
That's the whole team right there, anyways, right? Under the cover and invisibility.
Quinn Callahan.
Speaking of which, gonna be able to flank this backline. He has a 3-man coil here, but they don't have the support inbound just yet. Everyone nearby for the Radiant squad. It's a lot of information, if nothing else, that CC is able to gather here. Now Limp. Not the ideal target to go on, but maybe this Luna is. They need to catch the
sentry on my boy Kyle. Is he gonna plant it? He's not gonna plant it. Instead, Die gets gone.
Another strike over to the north side. They will get the Infernal Blade down on the Necrophos. Charge catches onto the Doom. The Lucent Beam and the Eclipse, though, help finish off Zai. Now CCNC in the backlines. He's been caught out. He's going to be able to jaunt to the north and gets the coil off, but the Lucent Beam is there. A couple more right clicks. The Poison should finish him off. Z-Freak with the double kill will be the Infernal Blade tick to finally bring him down. And assuming this bottom lane is the entire lineup of compLexity, they've got the Poison Breath from the Dragon Knight. Chessie will look to body back PPD, who's got a pretty good wave clear ability in this Splinter Blast. But it's not going to be enough to save them from killing off this tower. He'll use the Cold Embrace. Shockwave there from Z-Freak will not land. And they'll get the tier 1 and a pretty good fight bottom lane for the Radiant side. Meanwhile, though, top lane looks like their tower was taken out, if not already, by Pycat.
Yeah, a little bit of a... I think I was mentioning the 5-man from compLexity. It just feels like their whole lineup was configured for going for pickoffs into tower push, especially when you have heroes like Nature's Prof and Dragon Knight. One problem they might want to solve on compLexity's lineup with itemization, however, is their lack of catch right now. So if they doom someone, the Dire are not obligated to fight that fight. They can just run away from it. So hopefully at some point Dragon Knight picks up something like a Shadow Blade or a Blink just to help kills happen. And Blue actually randomly dusts mid, sets up some treants mid. We'll see if the Dire decide to fend this off. TP is on cooldown for CCNC, so it's really just PPD that can defend this tower, and it probably won't be enough. Going down, I guess Zai's here as well, so
8 seconds till Dragon form. compLexity are
The day is
hanging
saved.
around, but yeah, it feels like they're just going to disperse at the moment. Can't fight with that wasted dust charge, you know.
for sure. What was it even for? He queued it up too. It was like it was instant.
A shift, yeah. I don't know.
like
Maybe he
he,
meant to shift you the treants. He could have just had like an alt key binded. That's the spell, anyways. I don't know.
Maybe he thought there was an Nyx in his game, you know?
Just
Hey, maybe there's
PTSD from
suddenly there's
previous
a
games.
6th hero Nyx assassin standing on top of my teleport, waiting to gank me. Let me dust him and sprout him.
So both teams kind of mirroring each other's movements, both making their way down to the opposite side of the map. There is an objective, however, for compLexity to take, but actually the Dire feeling fairly confident about where they think the enemy is, and they're going to start putting some chip damage into a tier 2 here bottom lane.
And the Dire have to suspect that compLexity is on the top half of the map. You don't just leave Luna alone, and as I say that, the Nature's Prof and Dragon Knight start hitting the towers. So I think Dire are okay with this trade. Like they want to be the ones playing on the enemy side of the jungle. So this tier 2 is definitely more valuable for them than the tier 1 top, especially when the tier 1 top is such a difficult tower to defend after compLexity is set up on that side of the map. But We'll have to see if Dire decide to defend this tower. They have to be a little bit careful of their initiation. compLexity have all of their spells, and if the if any of the cores on the Dire get doomed before they get their spells off, it's sort of a lost team fight.
Pycat continuing to push in bottom lane as the Weaver and Limp will hurl away at this tower. CCNC jaunts forward and they get the Doom down onto the Necrophos. Z-Freak able to flank from the sides. A big Nature's Wrath comes through. Misery pretty much going to play the sacrificial lamb or cow in this case for his squad, while Pycat pushes in bottom lane. The tier 2 will go down, and Pycat, he's done some damage. He's done, you know, about 20% of the HP of the tower here taken out.
Not a bad exchange for the Dire there. I mean, they use the Doom, and as I said, you know, after the Doom's expended, the Dire really have no obligation to stay in the fight. So Doom expended on cooldown for quite a bit. We'll see if the Dire try to make something happen off of this. I mean, the Dire have some great initiation. They have the Puck, they have the Spirit Breaker
as well. Vision of Z-Freak right here. There is some Radiant Vision in the area. CCNC jumping forward. Doesn't feel much threatened by Z-Freak with that Doom on cooldown.
Is there an item missing on the courier or something for CCNC? His net worth's 6.8k, but I don't see 6.8k worth of items in his inventory.
Nothing on the courier.
It's a little odd.
That it is.
I guess it's in... Actually, yeah, it does add up if you add the gold in his inventory, so that's about right. So he's getting pretty close to potentially a Veil or a Yules or whatever item he decides to get first.
Could even be the Lincolns this game, and he does now queue it up against the Doombringer.
Certainly very required, especially...
Dust, though, is going to find CCNC, but... Slippery little target.
A little bit optimistic for a gank there, and that's actually my mistake. It was actually just a Golden Puck's inventory, and he'll get away there, and I think the Lincolns is absolutely necessary on him just to stop the Doom, to stop the Dragon Tail. The Dire, a couple of their heroes getting chased up top.
Zai in a little bit of trouble. Weave for vision and going to bring this armor a little bit low.
He might actually get a kill here.
Yeah, he has the Reaper Scythe perfectly timed as well from Zai. And now the charge coming through onto the Prophet. Chessie just ignored, essentially, in this fight. Zai goes for the TP out, but the Infernal Blade will finish him off. They get the Dragon Tail there as well. They're trying to pincer in Misery, who's found a little nook in the trees. And yeah, using the Dragon Tail on the Necrophos felt a bit overkill there, but either way, they get the more important kill. They do lose the Dazzle and the Nature's Prophet, however. So overall, Dire are pretty happy with that. It's space created. Pycat has not, it feels like, been involved in any of these team fights and has just been free farming. And he's sitting on enough gold for his ultimate orb, so just a recipe away from his Lincolns. He can start to get a little bit more cocky with his play once he picks that up.
For sure, for sure. In Dire, they're farming all three lanes right now. They got a little jungle action happening. And compLexity, they're just slowly getting out-farmed at the moment. They can make a couple of moves here and there, but really they can't make any macro movements. Like, they can catch this Winter Wyvern top, maybe.
PPD, trying to fly over the trees. The tree ants will reveal him and Z-Freak. Well, he'll get Winter's Cursed up, but that'll only delay the inevitable.
Tried to go for the Winter's Curse into TP, but dies anyway to the Scorched Earth. And also Moo was smart enough to dodge the Winter's Curse, so it would have been a kill either way. But Dire, you know, what do they really lose? It's just a Wyvern. All four of their heroes are farming on the map.
Yeah, the Necrophos, after what was a brutal start for Zai, has recovered very nicely.
Just one ultimate orb away from his Lincolns. Pycat also the same.
Really good timing for both of those heroes to be able to fight with their second item Lincolns here.
And Zai's actually also got a Lincolns queued up, so it's going to be 3 Lincolns on the Dire. They have the enemy team figured out. If they manage to get these Lincolns, it'll be very difficult for compLexity to actually take
Blink forward from Limp. He is going to find PPD, but once again, what are they getting off the back of this? Only tier 2s available. The waves, well, maybe they can look at mid. Z-Freak gonna try and body them off. Moo Sprouts up, but already bottom lane shoving in. They're going to have to address that shortly, and the glyph will delay this.
Well.
Yeah, CCNC, he's going to be able to take this tier 2 out. In fact, top lane as Pycat puts some pressure in to the bottom lane alongside Misery. They don't want to waste this dragon form though, so rather stubbornly, compLexity committing to this mid lane. They will now TP back on the Dragon Knight, and he'll get charged away. Does not get the Dragon Tail off.
Misery says not today.
That's pretty costly.
It's like
meanwhile, mid lane, he is in a lot of trouble. Gets the Eclipse off, doesn't get the fortunate bounces though to kill Misery. Even if he had, he would have died regardless.
I love how CCNC actually phase shifted there, so that Misery got hit by all of the the ulti beams, but luckily for him, Misery survives. It would have been funny if he died there though. Darn it, CCNC, why'd you phase shift?
Need my Lincolns, man.
Dire's getting way more out of these exchanges, right? Two tier 2s, or one tier 2 and a lot of tier 3 damage.
Almost
with a hood and a blink. This is like the sort of not the saddest Dragon Knight build I've seen, but definitely necessary for this game. I mean, he's super tanky, but he has no ability to farm, barely any damage on his hero, and so.
And Pycat has a link, so he's not nearly afraid of any of these heroes. Without the Luna, very few ways, and he's gonna waste Z-Freak without knowing. Waste the doom. Waste is. That's a new one for me.
You need some Tim Hortons, sir. Double.
Post game 5, I just had an espresso. Maybe it's just too much caffeine. Who knows? Either way, that's going to be a Lincoln's reveal, and it is one that the Dire are extremely content with.
This is just really good map movement from the Dire, right? They're trying to get as much farm on their heroes. They understand that, like, compLexity, you look at their lineup, it kind of has to group up, because if they don't, then their heroes don't exactly operate correctly. Like, the Luna can farm. Luna's pretty much the only hero that can farm right now. Dragon Knight's farm speed, it's...
Well, as an engagement starts here, they're going to go in onto Z-Freak. Reaper Scythe will finish him off.
Like, the Dragon Knight's farm speed is sort of limited, and so the Dire, they know that if they split up the compLexity lineup like that, they can keep going for farm, for towers, and even for kills like that. And as a result, they're going to get Roshan here, which should be pretty huge for them. I mean, their cores are pretty hard to deal with in the first place, and with an Aegis sitting on probably either the Weaver or the Necrophos, they should be in a really good position to continue pressuring the enemy team.
Yeah, net worth lead continuously widening here, almost to the tone of 10k now for the Dire side. Experience right about at that mark as well, and Mu frantically making his way back into the fog of war and out of this top lane. Still has a couple seconds on the scroll, but you will use the spell TP as Misery tries to initiate using the Glimmer Cape.
Teleportation.
Good spell.
It really is.
Chessie getting to work farming a double stack of Ancients, as you mentioned, really the only hero that can even keep up with the enemy in that, right?
Removed teleportation cooldown has to be one of the best, like one of the most annoying talents in the game. It just like, that hero already gets super like 6-slotted pretty quickly, so when he's all over the map, it just becomes harder and harder to deal with. But this game, it probably won't be an issue. I imagine Dire will try to limit the amount of farm that compLexity will get. As I mentioned, as you re-mentioned, Luna's really the only hero that can farm, but she's not exactly getting enough of it, right? Like, she's sitting 5th highest in net worth, Dragon Knight's sitting 4th highest in net worth. This Puck and Weaver are just soaring above everyone, and might have a bit of an altercation. Pycat set up bottom.
Feels like compLexity feel a bit suffocated right now, and that's largely the reason why the Luna can't farm. They make a movement to the north side of the map, and they will get this entire kind of northeastern hemisphere warded up, try and play in this area, I suppose. There is at least an objective for them to take.
The suffocation is just really good movement from Dire. I mean, if you look at the map, like, what can they really go for? Necrophos sitting top with an Aegis. You don't see any other hero on the Dire, really. So compLexity, they feel a little bit scared of where to initiate, and Misery Going for a kill. Will it reach? It will not. But it causes complexity to exit their jungle, and the Dire will continue to farm multiple quadrants on the map.
Limp hanging around for a bit, does have a haste rune bottled, is fairly tanky, so it feels like perhaps it's his responsibility to be farming these dangerous areas where very few of his heroes can do so.
Oh. I'm like, normally you would see like a Nature's Prophet split pushing way more, but ooh, mid lane.
Kyle in trouble. Early Reaper Scythe. They'll do enough damage though to that support to bring him down. 50 seconds on the sideline. And there is an Aegis in hand as well for the Dire. So conveniently enough, the wave will approach the tower mid, and they'll get to work taking it out.
So you know, CCC starting to work on Ashivas, which will make him way more difficult to kill. And the Dire, they're just posturing all of their heroes in front of the enemy base. Really, not scared of anything. Like the only farm that Zfrick is getting is on the enemy side of the map, where they have 3 wards, none of which are useful because I don't think Dire has entered that part of the map in a very long time. So complexity not in a very good spot. They're stuck sort of responding to the movements of the Dire right now. So you know, not an impossible game for complexity to win. I think they have to do a good job keeping their lanes out safely without losing any curry kill. They have to do a good job of keeping the lanes out safely without bleeding any kills, and then actually being able to go for pickoffs like this one on Highcat. Sir, use your dust. I guess it would have been a little bit of a difficult kill anyway, but they have to try to find some pickoffs somewhere on the map and on one of the cores. So that
Essie is scouted out here, and they will queue up the charge from mid. You can see nearby with a blink. Under the cover of Shadowblade, Misery goes in. He actually misses the Waning Rift. They get the Nether Strike there, but Kyle is there with the Shallow Grave, and now the Eclipse. Maybe finally a chance for them to turn it. No, the Reaper Scythe is there to cancel the TP. Chessie still alive because of the Shadow Wave, but will drop now to the Heartstopper and the Urn Tick. Now Zai in a little bit of trouble. Kyle from the low ground does get the Aegis to pop. Still, though, it feels like the Dire are ready to re-engage. Pycat has not joined this fight, however. And PPD still does have the Winter's Curse. If Z-Freak shows here, we'll be more than happy to pop it on him. He's under the cover of Shadow Amulet. And will make the walk away as the Dragon Tail keeps Zai down. Now the Winter's Curse is there onto the Prophet. Limp doing a lot of damage to his ally. The Glimmer Cape is there, though, from Z-Freak. It'll keep Mu up alive for now. They will get the Doom off onto the Necrophos. Still, Pycat absolutely MIA, hitting on the building's bottom lane. And he'll get the tier 3 tower with no response, putting some punishment into the range racks now. Still, Lincoln Sphere is there. Limp will reduce his damage, but not stop him from finishing off this range racks. And top lane, the remainder of the Dire side will get the tier 3 there. Bycat still just hanging around bottom lane. Net will catch the Misery Spirit Breaker, but he makes the charge away. Now looking for Zai. Zai trying to TP out here. Chessie does not have a Lucent Beam, and they are unable to cancel that TP. Felt like the Infernal Blade was there. Not sure. Either way.
It was, but I think the Ghost Shroud was still up, or the Sprout was preventing him from getting the kill. And a little bit of an unfortunate situation from complexity, but we just see the lineup from the Dire and also the net worth advantage really showing there. Just the difficulty that complexity is having dealing with these heroes on the side of the Dire.
Pycat 5,400 gold on the Weaver after those building takedowns.
Yep, he'll finish his next item quite soon. It'll be a Diffusal. And I'm sure Dire in a really comfortable position, just repeating what they've done for the last 10 minutes, splitting up the map, making sure they're not getting picked off, and going for kills whenever complexity shows any openings.
Zai has Lincolns of his own now, so the entire tricore of the Dire side with spheres, and has Relic Gold, not quite Radiance, but doesn't even feel like he's necessarily been the focal point of this Dire side draft. They have damage in spades with CCNC as doing as well as he is, and Pycat the same. CCNC finishes up a Shiva's guard here, sub 30 minutes.
And this gives Puck a lot of armor. I mean, he's surprisingly tanky right now. 1.7k health. Has Shivas, has Lincoln Sphere. Pretty much they have to break his Lincoln's Doom and they have to Doom and stun him in order to kill him. And even if they do that, there's also the Cold Embrace from Wyvern. So you never really see a Puck this difficult to kill in a normal game. But given complexity's lineup and their current state of farm, it's quite an order.
Alright, bot lane, can they potentially get a duel out on Pycat? They throw out the... Oh, nice! He time-lapsed back into the Doom. Z-Freak. Little bit of panic there from Pycat. And he's going to try to run away, but will be pincered in as they find him. In the meantime, Zai going to find a kill onto Swindles. But they will get the Weaver. Meanwhile, Limp caught out on an island mid lane. It looks like he's going to be ganged up on and beat down. And Pycat will thank his team for picking him up after that panic time-lapse bottom lane. Still, 2 heroes on the sideline for the Radiant. 40 plus seconds, no buyback. CCNC alongside Zai feeling more than confident to push in towards these buildings. They'll get the units in the base and go for the more low-hanging fruit of those top lane barracks with the tier 3 already eliminated. No Doom available as well, so really nothing for them to fear. Z-Freak gonna jump forward, gets a little stomp off, and tries to initiate here, but really, he's just playing distraction. And they will drop him with ease, as does the melee racks, as they do the melee racks, I should say. Guy still standing his ground here, has the Radiant Gold though, and will back out. Played a little bit disciplined as Pycat soon to respawn.
You know, that's a set of racks down. They're down Drax bottom and compLexity. They look like they're stuck in a corner here, but they did complete the Orchid on moves, so maybe that'll help with them take the next team fight or take the next potential gank.
Coin for me.
Things are looking pretty bad for compLexity. Still not an impossible victory. I mean, Luna and Dragonite are 2 of the heroes that, if they do get farmed this game, they can potentially do a lot of damage in team fights.
Pycat given the bottle by CCNC. Double damage rune in tow, and he's got that freshly picked up Maelstrom on top of his
compLexity
recently
smoked up, but
purchased.
Moo's the first one to get charged. They're not going to see this charge coming.
Yeah, Shadow Blade there for Misery, and Moo in a lot of trouble. We'll see if the Radiant is able to react, but they're going to burst down this Prophet with ease. They jump forward, though. Dragon Tail does connect onto CCNC, but where is the follow-up, really? Orchid will expire, and now the Winter's Curse going to be dropped onto the Dazzle. He will have to grave himself. Reaper Scythe to the north side will take out the Luna. And now Z-Freak and Limp will drop almost simultaneously. 5 heroes down from compLexity. Likely the game here. As, again, Misery facilitating aggression for this squad. And just, as you've alluded to previously, better movement overall from the Dire side across the map. Alright, so compLexity will drop game 1 to the Dire. This has been the Dota TV cast, guys. We gotta hop in the lobby quick. So forgive me if I don't get heavy production value and get the overlays up. I'm gonna try and get in the lobby for game 2 as compLexity down, the Dire up 1-0 in Hamburg NA qualifier.